So good morning, everybody. My name is Danny Fitzgerald. I am the Regional Director for the San Diego and Imperial Small Business Development Center. We're a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration, as well as the state of California through the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. So today we are going to have a couple of quick updates on COVID-19 assistance. And from the SBA, from the County of San Diego, and then the City of San Diego wasn't able to join, but they did provide me some updates, and so I'll follow Joanna and a couple of updates from them as well. So why don't we go ahead and start with Jamie? What's happening at the SBA?
Thank you so much, Danny. Again, Jamie Pritchett, Solorzano. I think we got to mute. Okay.
I'm muting people.
Manually muted. Okay, Jamie Pritchett, Solorzano, United States Small Business Administration, Economic Development Specialist at the San Diego District Office. We service both San Diego and Imperial counties, and the Small Business Development Center is our terrific resource partner. So we're going to go through real quickly some of the updates to the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program that changed recently. And then we're going to talk 2 minutes about our National Small Business Week Awards, because it's an opportunity that everybody on this Zoom meeting right now could potentially participate in. So it's awesome. We got a quick, for our visual people, we have a quick PowerPoint. And I think Lynn or Allie are going to bring it up real quick. And we have all the links are going to be in the chat. So we have some really cool links in the chat, especially a YouTube link. So SBA is on YouTube, so that's awesome.
All right, here I'm bringing it up. Allie did send it to me this morning, so give me 1 second. My apologies.
Thank you, Danny. It's hot off the press.
No problem. I know things have changed with the turn of the calendar. Here you go.
Okay, so some important dates with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. We have some bullet points, and then I also have a graph visual that we're going to see on the next slide regarding the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. I know many folks have applied for it. So the deadline for submitting the COVID EIDL loan applications passed at 11:59 Eastern Time, December 31st, right? So just with the new year. So no new loan applications will be accepted after that December 31st deadline. That doesn't mean that there's not opportunities out there. So that's why I'm going to clearly read through these bullet points to make sure we transfer knowledge and everybody knows exactly what's going on. So while the loan application deadline closed, SBA continues to review EIDL loan applications after December 31st. So many folks have an application pending that was submitted. Those applications are continuing to be worked. Okay, so in regards to the increases, COVID EIDL borrowers can request increases up to their maximum eligible loan amount for up to 2 years after their loan origination date. So what's really important, the key words in that sentence is the original loan origination date. And the second part of this bullet that's really important is or until the funds are exhausted, whichever is soonest. So if you're interested in taking an action on that economic injury disaster loan, timeliness is really important here. SBA, so now we're going to switch to reconsiderations and appeals. So SBA will accept and review reconsideration and appeal requests for COVID EIDL applications if the reconsideration appeal is received timely within the timeframes in the regulation. So 6 months from the date of the decline of the loan application for the reconsideration. And here's a difference here. And 30 days from the date of reconsideration decline for the appeals, unless the funding is no longer available. Okay, so we talked about the economic injury disaster loan. We talked about the increases, and we talked about the reconsideration and appeal process if you have a declination on that application. So we're gonna switch gears, and we're gonna talk about the deadline for submitting the targeted EIDL advance, and the difference in the deadline between the advance and the supplemental targeted advance. So there's a difference there. So the deadline for submitting targeted EIDL advance and supplemental targeted passed on 11:59 Eastern Time, December 31st. Targeted EIDL advance applications can continue to be processed after December 31st, but the deadline for approving supplemental targeted advance applications ceased on December 31st. So that's why that was an important point. That's why I highlighted it in the very last sentence. No supplemental targeted advance applications can be processed after December 31st. So to quickly recap, loan applications ended on December 31st. There is a possibility to request an increase, and still in play until the funds are exhausted. And they're still processing some of those targeted advance applications. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide, and I have a graph here that basically puts everything in order, what I just said. So no new loan applications after December 31st. Loan modification, 2 years from loan origination date. Reconsideration, we can accept a reconsideration, and the district office and the Small Business Development Center is working with small businesses and independent contractors through that process. So the reconsideration, 6 months from the date of decline or until funds are exhausted. The appeal timeframes, 30 days from the reconsideration decline. The targeted advance applications, December 31st. And the reevaluations, 6 months from the date of decline or until the funds are exhausted. Limited to 1 request per applicant starting on January 1st. The supplemental advance. So the supplemental was the additional $5,000 worth of grant funding. So that ended on December 31st. And so application processing stopped on December 31st for that 5,000 supplemental advance. And so the great news is application processing is continuing past that December 31st deadline or until the funds are exhausted. And so we'll have to keep in touch on this Meet the Lenders and provide more information as to where we are with the funding as the program continues. I want to encourage everybody and everybody that you speak with, all the small business owners, to look into taking action. We work regularly with folks that applied and then they never followed up, and now they're looking to follow up. So now's the time to make sure that you consider where you're at, and if you want to pursue the program, time is of the essence. And we're going to switch gears next to something that's really awesome. So the 2022 National Small Business Week Awards nominations. So the SBA this is an annual process that happens, and we included the YouTube link, which has our administrator, and she's awesome, and she has created a YouTube. It's online, the link's here. check it out. It goes through an overview of the awards process. It's terrific. So what we have open right now, and we're ready to accept nominations. And so this is a call to action. If you are a small business owner, or we're also going to talk about some of the champion awards. We have 2 categories of awards. If you're interested in, or if somebody else is interested in nominating you, you can self-nominate. Here's the categories for the small business local awards. So family-owned small business of the year, minority-owned small business of the year, veteran-owned small business of the year, women-owned, yay! And then also we have a really cool one, young entrepreneur of the year. So the way this process works is you submit an application package, and that package must be completed and submitted by February 1st, 2022. So we have some time. So if you're interested, if you know of a small business owner that falls into one of these categories, absolutely pursue consideration for those nominations. So we included the links that take you to our press release and take you to all of the background information and the couple forms that you need to fill out. And this year we've changed it a little bit. In past years, you could submit the awards at the office. So now we're going electronic. So electronic submissions only. There's a box account set up. So you can work on that application, load it to the box account and get going before February 1st. And if you need more information, our local lender relations specialist, our contact person in the office is Cynthia Harris. She's awesome. She has a ton of business acumen and has been following the awards process for many years. And she's a terrific contact. And then I'm going to also discuss some really cool awards for champions that I know many of you lenders may be interested as well. And so all these links are going in the chat too. So let's go to the next slide and let's take a special look at the Small Business Champion of the Year. So I'm going to read it. Individuals who have fulfilled a commitment to the advancement of small business, including volunteering time and services to small business interests and groups, and championing it and championing, right? We work as a team. We have to champion each other. Championing the cause of small businesses in the legislative process. Champions may or may not be small business owners. So we're inclusive here. We're looking at awards for small business owners and also looking at awards for our awesome champions. Many of you champions are on this call right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. And I actually provided the definition. Minority Small Business Champion of the Year, Veteran Small Business Champion of the Year, Women in Business Champion of the Year, Financial Services Champion of the Year. So take a look at the Financial Services Champion of the Year, an individual who assists small businesses through advocacy to increase usefulness and availability of accounting or financial service. And again, you can self-nominate. Small Business Journalist of the Year. So that's a new one. So awesome opportunities to submit for awards and these champions. And I encourage everybody to fully leverage the process and compete and submit. And if you have any questions, you can contact us. And then Danny, I know you guys at the Small Business Development Center are doing a terrific job as well with this process and assisting small business owners. And that's what I have for today. Do we have, I know I shared a lot of information. Do we have any questions?
So we'll let people go ahead and put those questions in the chat. We've got a pretty packed agenda, and I know you were going to drop some of those links in there because that was the big question, was where do we find the link for this? So I'll let you drop those in the chat, and we'll let Joanna from Supervisor Lawson-Remer's office be able to talk about the county of San Diego's program. Joanna.
Great. Hi, thank you for having me. So yes, my name is Joanna Santiago. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am with the County of San Diego with Supervisor Terra Lawson-Remer's office for District 3. So today I'm here to give you a little bit of information about the grants we have available with the county. We have the Small Business Stimulus Grant. These are for businesses who are for-profit or nonprofit can apply. These are for small businesses. These are funds from the federal government. These are from the American Rescue Plan Act. The county awarded $35 million for this grant. You do not have to pay it back. So we encourage everybody to apply. Now, some of the criteria to qualify for this is, again, you have to be a business. You have to have 20 or fewer employees. You can be a sole proprietor or an independent contractor. You have to be based in San Diego County. You have to have been in business in operating 1 year prior to the pandemic. So it would be February 14, 2019. So you have to have been in business prior to that date. You have to have had experienced financial hardship due to COVID. Also, complied with all the state and local public health guidance. And that is it. So there's a lot of you I know on here that would definitely qualify. Please do apply. Go to our county website and I'll drop the link in the chat to apply. There's, like I said, we still have plenty of funding available. I think the last time I checked, there was about $15 million still out to be distributed. So do contact your county supervisor to apply. Like I said, I'll put in the chat how to apply. Go to our website. There's additional links, additional videos there on how to apply if you have any questions, and how to fill out the application, the expenditure reports, anything that you might have. Again, I'll also put in my information. You're more than welcome to call me for District 3, or I'll give you the direct line for the Office of Financial Planning, who is actually the lead on these grants. We do have other county grants for nonprofits. We have the Community Enhancement and the Neighborhood Reinvestment Grant. Those are, again, grants from the county for nonprofits who need funds to operate. And those are ongoing grants. So there is no, the amounts vary of what you may be awarded, but definitely I really encourage everybody to apply. And if you have any questions, I know that SBDC will definitely help you fill out those applications if you have more questions. Yeah, that is it from me. If you guys have any questions, do put them in the chat. Like I said, I'll put in all those links and my information if you have any additional questions. Okay, thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Joanna. Appreciate all of that. So Joanna is going to drop her links into the chat as well. Mine will be super quick. I did get some updates from the city of San Diego. Unfortunately, they couldn't be on today. So one thing they wanted to emphasize was that they do still have a revolving low interest revolving loan fund that's through there. It's for businesses that are in the cities of San Diego, and they also partner with the city of Chula Vista on this loan program. Obviously, they did have their grant program. That application did close in the end of September. Most of the grant funds have been distributed. They will have one final small wave of funding that will go out. Those intends to award probably at the beginning of February. So those were the updates that they had. Let's move on to our fantastic panel now. I will put the link to the loan program in the chat box, but wanted to get to our panel here and be able to introduce those folks. So let's see here. We've got, why don't we go ahead and start having some introduction go around. So why don't we start with you, Dan, since I know you had a little trouble getting on, but we'll start with you anyway. So if you can take yourself off mute, and then you can introduce yourself and in your lending institution.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, technology is a great thing, isn't it? But it's a struggle when you can't get on. So yeah, my name is Dan Newland. I am a branch manager, business specialist at Banner Bank. I cover the San Diego area and also the East County in El Cajon. What we do, we're a primary business lender. We do small business SBA type loans, equipment lending, commercial real estate. We also offer business lines of credit for quick access to capital when needed. And then we do various consumer products as well.
Awesome. Why don't we go ahead and go to you, Rosalinda?
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosalinda Delgado from Accessity. At Accessity, we provide small business loans, technical assistance, and resources. We're starting our entrepreneurship academy next month. So the applications are open for any entrepreneur that want to start a business or is at the beginning stages and can apply for that. We provide loans, only business loans, to businesses that do not qualify for traditional bank financing yet. We provide up to $100,000 in 3 different products: the rapid loan up to 8, the small business loan up to the micro loan up to 50, and the small business loan up to 100,000. We're also providing COVID relief loans as a participating lender for the California Rebuilding Fund. And that is up to 50,000 with us. That is a program that is set to expire on March 31st. However, they are talking about expanding the program until June of this year, and they will probably change some of the parameters and guidelines for eligibility for that program. So if there's people out there that apply for the California Rebuilding Fund and they have not gotten funded or they were not eligible at that time, they might be eligible under the new rules of that program. So stay tuned. I don't have many details, but the California Rebuilding Fund, they have a website connecttocapital.com. So there's going to be announcements in that regard.
Thanks, Rosalinda. Fred.
Good morning. My name's Fred Crispin. I'm with United Midwest Savings Bank. I manage the small loan division for the bank on a nationwide basis, providing SBA loans from $20,000 up to $150,000 under the SBA 7A small loan program. Probably 90% of the loans we fund every month are pure startups, meaning the day we fund that loan is the day they're ready to open their doors to start selling widgets or services or whatever they may do.
Thanks, Fred. DeWitt.
Good morning, I'm DeWitt Dudley. I'm a first vice president of commercial banking with Pacific Premier Bank. We're a large regional commercial bank headquartered in Irvine with branches all over California, Arizona, a couple in Nevada, and the Pacific Northwest. We focus on banking businesses and doing real estate lending. And our lending programs start with loans as small as $5,000 and go all the way up to $100 million plus. And we offer a number of different loan programs, from conventional lending, SBA lending, state guaranteed loans, and really everything in between. Thanks.
Thanks, DeWitt. Fernando.
Good morning, Fernando Ponce with Primary Funding. Primary Funding is a non-bank lender. We're based here in San Diego. We've been in business about 27 years now. So we really focus on being that bridge, to the bank. So we will provide financing more asset-based. So we do factoring, where we're actually leveraging specific invoices to get you the working capital you need. We'll also do PO financing on the front end on certain contracts that you might win, and you need capital up front for the cost of goods to procure the product. And then we'll also do some short-term lending. We'll leverage real estate. We'll use whatever assets we can, ideally, to try to get you the capital you need. But it's all for the most part short-term, right? So we're going to, on the factoring side, it's going to be maybe 30, 60 days. On the PO side, maybe a little bit longer than that, up to like 120. And then if we're doing a short-term loan or a bridge loan, it's going to be 12 to 18 months realistically, nothing longer than that. So if you have assets that we can leverage, and ideally a B2B industry where you have some accounts receivable that we can kind of track the cash flow and get that going, that's ideally what we're going to be the best fit for.
Thank you. And Janelle.
Hi, I'm Janelle Shalou. I'm a business relationship manager here at Chase. We are the largest bank in the country. We're in all 48 states, but we pride ourselves on making our clients feel like we're a small bank. We're really big into relationship banking. We do all types of business lending. We do commercial real estate. We do lines of credit. Anything that you would possibly need, we're able to provide. We're also able to automate some services for you on the cash management side. So yeah, we're here to help our clients any way we can.
Fantastic. And so obviously we all know that COVID still hasn't left us, as Omicron has definitely swept through, I think, everybody. And I think it used to be, we all knew somebody maybe who's got it, but now I think it's like it's touched everybody after this last one. So with it kind of, setting off, I mean, we were able to hear from the SBA, the county, and a couple updates, that I had from the city. And then Rosalinda talked a little bit about some COVID relief. I mean, really, so how has it, how long will this tail really fit in terms of some of your lending, and what are some of your ways in which you're looking out for 2022? So why don't we go ahead and start with you, Fernando?
So what we're looking for in 2022, as far as from an underwriting perspective?
Exactly, and especially since COVID hasn't left us.
Yeah. So, I think for us, we're not focused too much on COVID really more at this point. We're really just looking at the businesses that have adapted and have processes in place, so that going forward, we don't anticipate, there being, countrywide shutdowns anymore. But if there was something that happened, if there were hiccups, they're going to be, they have processes in place to handle these things, right? What we're really are looking at, though, is we're looking at supply chain, right? So we're looking at where are your weaknesses in your supply chain? Where are you going to have issues potentially, right? Where when stuff was coming in from China before, maybe it's a month to produce, a month on the water, it gets here, 2 weeks at the harbor, and then it's shipping out to wherever it's supposed to be going, right? To your warehouse or whatever it is. Well, now it might be, 60 days at the harbor waiting to get, shipped out to wherever it's going to go, right? So do you have inventory in place that you can leverage now, to kind of help mitigate those long lead times? What kind of arrangements have you worked out with your vendors, right? So that maybe you don't have to put as much capital out up front, so that you're not depleting all of your cash for 90 to 120 days while you're waiting for this inventory to come in, right? So really, it's how have you adjusted and how have you learned to work with your vendors, hopefully, so that you can minimize the pain on the front end when you're bringing in the inventory. And then and a lot of our customers maybe have even switched from, maybe instead of buying in China, they're buying from Mexico now, right? They've done things to where they've minimized or they've helped to mitigate those risks of those long lead times. So really, ideally, that's what we want to see. We want to see that if everybody was impacted. I can pretty much, 99% of business returns I look at from, 2020 through 2021, there's going to be some loss or something happened. And that's perfectly explainable. Everybody's going to say, oh, well, COVID, sure. But what did you do, right? What did you do now to mitigate that? And so going forward, if you have these issues again, what changes have you made so that you don't have them, or that you can overcome these issues if you have them again? So that's really what we're looking at, ideally, for the deals that we're doing.
Fantastic, Fernando. And DeWitt, what about you? I mean, what are you looking at from the long tail of COVID, and especially since it's definitely still with us?
Yeah, so hopefully the worst of the shutdowns are behind us, and That being said, since we're a cash flow based lender, we're going to look at historical cash flow. So what's really important to us is looking at 2021 and seeing how did the business do over 2021. So ideally you would have your year to date or year end 2021 financials ready. And we understand that 2020 might have been a rough year. Maybe, you didn't show as much profit as typical, or maybe there's a loss in 2020. So it's probably also a good idea to show 2019. So we can kind of look at 2019 and 2021 and then have a good explanation for the bank as far as if there were any losses in 2020. Aside from that, though, our lending hasn't really changed throughout COVID. We still look for the same things. We're still looking for a certain amount of profitability. So that is one thing that I do require is profitability. But aside from that, we're expecting that 2022 is going to be another great year for lending, in San Diego and generally in California and broader in the nation. So for us, we're looking to do as much lending this year as we possibly can.
Fantastic. Thanks, DeWitt. And Fred, like you mentioned, you deal a lot with new businesses. I mean, what are you seeing from kind of the entrepreneurial standpoint in the long tail of COVID?
Our volume has continued to be extremely strong. We feel like it'll be another strong year with a lot of people have left their full-time jobs and started up their own entrepreneurial type jobs, typically through the franchise industries. And so we're heavily involved in financing those types of businesses. For the most part, it's an unsecured loan. We take a lien on the business asset, but that's it. So the biggest concern we have, or we've seen out of small business owners, is the ability to hire people. Employees seem to be the single biggest problem that we've seen with small loans.
Fantastic. Thanks, Fred. That's the other challenge, supply chain and workforce, right? And those are the big issues. All right, Janelle, so what about you? I mean, as a large lender and working mostly with existing businesses, what about Chase and some of the ways in which it's being forecast?
Right, and I agree with a lot of what some of the other panelists have said. We're looking at the same things. For us, it's always been business as usual. A lot of our clients are still lending. We have been seeing an uptick in obviously lines of credit just because of the supply chain, where they're trying to get their ducks in a row so that they have the ability to go out 4 to 6 months, waiting for their goods to arrive or raw materials to arrive. We've continued on with lending. We are a cash flow lender, but we want to see that you've pivoted. That's the word, I guess, for 2021 and 2020, is that you've been able to adopt your business. If you were a restaurant, we've had clients that used, merchant processing, started merchant processing. They've had to-go orders. They've had delivery services. We have some, distributors that have gotten into, the PPE game, things like that. So we're looking to see if you've taken your business, you've been willing to adopt, and you're working again with employees, that your employees are still there to provide, a secure place for them to work. So we're looking at the whole picture. We are able to look globally too. So we look and see what you did personally as well. So, again, you need to make sure you're making your payments on time, that you're continuing to do business as usual. And we are going to be looking at, your tax returns for prior years, as well as, the year-to-date financials. But we haven't really seen a downturn in lending. We're doing commercial lending. We're doing, real estate lending. We're doing lines of credit. People are still out there working. And I think at this point, a lot of our business owners and people in general have just adapted to COVID and are making it work.
Fantastic, Janelle. And Rosalinda, from Accessity, what some of your perspectives?
Well, this year we expect, in terms of COVID relief loan, we expect the request to go down substantially. So we're not expecting any more than 10% of our portfolio to go into COVID relief. Last year was 42%. The year before, 2020, was 82%. So we can see a lot of growth. Our pipeline is full. We're getting a lot of requests for new businesses and businesses that are actually growing. We're seeing a lot of creative ideas to get out of the difficult times that they had during the pandemic. So that is very exciting to see. We're looking definitely at financials for 2021 to see how that differ from 2020 taxes, right? That's very, very important. We're looking at the level of debt that people have gotten into. That is super important to show that they have the capacity to afford another debt. And we're looking also at how much money they receive from the EIDL and all the help that there was there and what they did with that. So we're looking at all those points in terms of the people or the businesses that are coming to us now. But definitely I expect to see a lot of growth this year. Absolutely.
Thank you. And Dan, there at Banner Bank, what are some of the things that have changed and what you're looking at as for new lending going forward?
Well, there's not much more for me to add, really. Everyone's done a great job of kind of covering, I think, what we're all looking for. So I don't have as much to say other than, we as an organization are highly prioritizing our lending services to clients, to new clients. We're finding ways to make the loans happen where we can. We're leveraging SBA, we're leveraging assets, trying to mitigate any things that may have come up during the pandemic. But I think, like all of us, we're hoping we're getting out of this thing relatively soon. Keeps hanging around, keeps coming back. But I think I've seen an uptick in new business, people opening up into new businesses. I think Omicron and COVID in general has really made a lot of folks decide, I think I'm going to try something new. And at Banner Bank, we're here to receive those folks and try to partner with them the best we can to get them to where they want to go in their business.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. So kind of shifting, since we've talked about kind of some of the big picture and the forecasting things, as a small business or entrepreneur is getting ready and knows that they're going to need a loan, what's something that they really need to first do as they're realizing they need a loan? Why don't we go ahead and start with you, DeWitt?
So I would say the best advice I could give is have all of your financials ready to go. So a lot of times when I talk to people about lending, we'll have a great first conversation, great second conversation. And then as soon as you say, well, why don't you send some financials to me so I can take a look at it and give you a more specific idea of what the business supports, then sometimes the conversation will go quiet for a while. And you're wondering, well, why aren't they sending financials over? And it seems like in a lot of cases, business owners might not have those financials ready to go. Maybe they didn't realize they need quarter end financials or monthly financials. And at that point, they'll scramble and try to figure out, well, how do I put financials together? So I would say before you talk to a lender, before you call anyone on the panel, make sure you have your financials ready to go. Because oftentimes the lenders, everyone on the panel here knows exactly what questions to ask about your financials. And chances are they're going to get right to it. So they might ask you, what's your year-to-date net income? Or what was your net income for the end of 2021? Or what were sales for Q4? And if you don't have that information ready, it just conveys to the lender that maybe you're not as on top of the financial side of the business as you should be. So I would say have all of your financials ready to go. And then second to that, I would say just have a defined purpose for the loan. So in other words, when a business owner asks me, I want to apply for a loan, the next thing I say is, great, what size loan do you want to apply for? And whenever I'm told, I don't know, what's the most you can give me? It doesn't really give me a good feeling that they know how they're going to spend the money, that it's going to be a reasonable ask. What gives me a much better feeling is when a business owner says, well, all I really need is $350,000, but I could probably make it work on $200,000 because I'm going to do $50,000 for marketing and $50,000 for hiring new people and $50,000 for this. And that gives me a much better feel that they've thought it through, they have a plan, they have a strategy. So those would be my two pieces of advice. Have the financials ready to go, have a defined purpose for the loan.
Fantastic, DeWitt. What about you, Fred? What's some of the advice you give?
DeWitt pretty much hit it. Know how much you need to borrow and what kind of financial shape are you in personally, and what's your credit look like. Ours is a credit scored loan program, so be aware of what's on your credit report. Make sure it's if there's erroneous information on there, get it cleaned up before you go see a lender.
And Dan, what about you? What some advice you give people, prospective borrowers?
Yeah, I guess I can echo the same thing that Fred and DeWitt mentioned. I can tell you that from experience, when I get a loan package and the financials are completely out of order, it makes my job and the underwriter's job a lot more challenging. So I always suggest make sure you have a great CPA or bookkeeper, a friend that really knows accounting, someone that you trust that can actually get your books so that when you present to the bank or your lender, that it's a clear picture of what's going on, and the banker or the lender's not trying to run around trying to collect what they need to complete the package. I do want to touch on just being prudent with money that you have. Don't ask for money you don't need. I think having realistic expectations of what you need to get your business going, get your business to meet its goals. It's not our job to really tell you how much. I think having a realistic idea of how much you need. And again, I'll mention the credit aspect as well. I tell young people that your credit is your best asset, and it is going to carry you for the rest of your life. So if there are issues on credit, it's a great idea to get those things maybe cleaned up if you can. But certainly all lenders do evaluate credit as well.
Fantastic. And Rosalinda.
Well, I will add to everything that was said. Transparency is something very important. We don't like surprises, so make sure you are very transparent with your information, with your story, because we do our due diligence and we do a lot of research, and if we find something that is not in accordance to what you say, that's going to affect you. Another thing, make sure you have a good banking relationship. We have great bankers in this group, and make sure you have your business bank accounts set up and you are not commingling with your personal funds, and your business needs to make sense. Make sure your business makes sense. If you come up with an idea that is very difficult to understand, one of those creative businesses that not many people understand, it's going to be very, very difficult to underwrite as well. So keep that in mind.
Fantastic. What about you, Janelle?
I think what everyone else said is very relevant. The one thing that I would add would be, plan where you do your loan. Don't come to us after you've spent all your money and then decide you need a loan, because we do look at your balances and your historical banking relationship. So that is a red flag for us if you don't have any money in the bank. So I would plan to use the bank's money first, and then start dipping into your reserves, because you'll end up with no money, and then we won't be able to give you a loan if you use all your money at first.
Fantastic. What about you, Fernando?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I guess, going to be a little bit redundant. Everybody's kind of touching on a lot of great points. I think there's a term used in banking, which is sources and uses, right? Which is basically means get the right loan, that's going to be for the right reason, right? So everybody wants a line of credit, but if you're going to use it for something that's going to take you 2 or 3 years to repay, like a piece of equipment or something, that's not the right use for that lending vehicle, right? So really understand what it is that you need. Is it short-term working capital? Is it equipment? Is it a long-term investment? Is it a short-term investment? And then also find the right fit, right? I mean, there's a lot of different lenders on this panel here today. Everybody does something a little different. And even the banks that are on here, right? You could think, well, banks all do the same thing. They all have, different appetites. They all have different risk appetites. I mean, I was in banking for many years, and, they switched from real estate. Sometimes they were real estate heavy, then they went C&I heavy. So understanding who the lenders are and what their strengths are and how that fits where you are as a business or what type of business you are is very important. And the way you do that, is by having somebody advise you, right? So I would say, you work with an advisor at the SBDC, try to help them to help you understand all of these key points that were brought up here today, right? Because they're all very valid key points. And you as a newer business owner, or even an older business owner, you might sit here and think like, well, which one's the most important? How do I know which one to focus on? It's impossible to know unless you know what everybody does and what everybody's good at, right? So if you get somebody to help guide you through that, you're going to be able to put your best foot forward and not waste a lot of time and go and apply it like 10 different places before you find the right one. Narrow it down to 2 or 3 and then go with those, and hopefully you'll have the best outcome that way.
Fantastic. Thanks, Fernando. And that's what we're here for at the SBDC. Again, it's free one-on-one business advising. We have over 100 experts here in the San Diego and Imperial region to help you. We also have some fantastic trainings coming up. We have a new partnership with Intuit where they're providing free training on QuickBooks Online and even providing discounts for that. We also have some intensive trainings coming up on really understanding your business finances. We're calling it our Business Financial Fitness Program, to really be able to get all those types of things together. And so we will, so you can absolutely visit our website. I know Lynn's put that link in there, and I'll also include a couple of the links when I email out the recording for this video. So, so absolutely, that's the kind of some of the critical elements. So I want to move on to kind of always a fun one. My personal favorite is a success case you've recently had. You feel free to anonymize it, but something a client or a business that you've helped recently that really was kind of a cool situation. So why don't we go ahead and why don't we start with you, Fred?
They're numerous. I mean, when you consider probably 90% of the loans we make every month are pure startups, to see one succeed and still be in business 3 or 4 years down the road is a success story to me. And we've got a number of them.
No, that really is. It's seeing that growth and seeing that entrepreneurs fulfill their dream is super cool. What about you, Dan?
So yeah, I had one actually last month. Really great story. I was actually very happy I could be a part of it. A gentleman was not from the United States. He is an immigrant, and he started his own spice company. And so he wasn't real savvy in the way that loans work. But the best thing he did is he came in and we talked, and he just kind of told me what was going on, what he was doing, what his plan were, what his plan was. He had his financials well prepared. But to see a gentleman like that really kind of learning with me, partnering with him, how the loan process works, how the bank can better his business and help him grow his sales was great. And so I found it personally rewarding, and I know that I feel he'll be a Banner Bank client probably for life because of what we were able to do. So that was a great experience for me.
Fantastic. What about you, Janelle?
Well, I had one. I'm actually getting ready to close a loan for something we discussed earlier. I have a company that's been having a lot of issue getting their raw goods over from China. They've been out 4 to 6 months, and they've actually it's impacted their cash flow because they've had to dig into their savings. I was able to secure a line of credit for them for $350,000. So that enables them to buy additional inventory up front and plan for that 4 to 6 month delay, as well as the delay in getting the actual payments. So it's a longtime client that really didn't want to do lending, but he did see the benefits, and we were able to help him with his business.
Fantastic. What about you, Fernando?
Yeah, we recently funded a local beverage company. Really cool story, family owned. Making a coffee that they they grew up on a family farm making, and so really cool story, really cool company. We were able to put together a factoring program for them so they could actually expand and continue to take on clients as they expand on the wholesale side of the business. They moved from selling direct to consumer to really trying to focus on the wholesale piece, and that can zap a lot of cash up when you do that. So having the ability to factor those invoices to get some cash on the front end of that is going to help them to really grow their brand.
Awesome. And Rosalinda.
Yes, we have a story. We have a African Caribbean market that we funded a startup in 2016, and they were able to open the grocery store. One of the reasons was in their area there was no ethnic food and ethnic groceries, but it took them a while for them to really get the word around that they were there. So they came back to us several times in 2020 after the pandemic because they were very impacted and we couldn't make the numbers work for them. But in 2021, things had improved quite a bit, and people have started to come to their place because they didn't want to go to LA to get their produce because they had to go through a lot of people and the safety was not there. So they started looking for places, and his place came up on the searches, and he started getting a lot of people coming to his place, and he started taking orders. So they wanted a certain product and he didn't have it. He said, I don't have it, but I can get it for you. I don't have it, but I can get it for you. And people started ordering products for him. So he found a way to improve his sales, and he wanted a van to be able to go to LA and to bring more stuff because he was using the family car, and there was not enough room for him to bring all the things that he needed for his grocery store. So we were able to provide him $40,000 to get a van, and we saw the growth in the last year, and we were able to provide that funding for him. And it was so much fun because all the family is in the grocery store helping. The kids are there, the wife helps. He's a veteran as well, and he loved to talk about his his military life. So it was wonderful to see that we could help them.
That's fantastic. You know, all these stories are always so much fun, and I know that's really why we're kind of all in what we do and helping the small businesses. What about you, DeWitt?
So there have been a lot of recent successes, but I'll just speak about one of them. It's a client that started banking with me a couple of years ago. It's a small business. They do about $2 million in revenue a year. They're located in San Diego, and the client previously had a non-bank lender providing all of their working capital to kind of float operations. And the company wanted to move away from the non-bank lender and get bank financing at a lower interest rate. And basically reviewed the financials and realized, I see why you're with a non-bank lender. The financials aren't very good quality. There's things that are mislabeled. There are things that are miscategorized. The financials just frankly don't make a lot of sense. So this success was literally 2 years in the making of working with the company to have them clean up their financials, work with an accountant, work with their CPA, get things stated the right way. And literally 2 years later, the company finally got approved by me for a $250,000 line of credit and was able to move away from the non-bank lender. So I feel like this is a good success because it really kind of shows that with a lot of the earlier stage companies out there, successes don't mean, you call the bank today, you get approved tomorrow. It could take a much longer period of time to get exactly what you're looking for. You might need to call a non-bank lender, work with a non-bank lender for a couple of years, get your financials in order, get profitability, and then be able to qualify for bank financing. So sometimes those success stories take a little bit more time, and this happened to be one of them, but it turned out to be a great win for the bank. The client has all of their deposits with us. Now they have a line of credit with us. And hopefully we're going to also be looking at an SBA loan for them as well for real estate.
That's fantastic. And again, it's all these success cases that really do matter. And, it is what's so critical. I know that's why our 6 panelists work in small business lending, is to really see those dreams come true and really be able to see that. And we really appreciate them absolutely for getting on and talking about each of theirs. We have, again, some fantastic different types of lenders. You have your bank lenders with Chase, with Banner, and with Pacific Premier. And United Midwest that focuses on entrepreneurs and startup primary funding that has a bunch of different lending options, ways in which you can go. And of course, Accessity, which is a nonprofit lender that really can kind of work with a number of different businesses. And so we really want to thank also our sponsors for this, which includes Banner Bank, CDC Small Business Finance, United Midwest Savings, Pacific Premier Primary Funding, and Marble Bridge Funding. And really, it's these sponsors that help us continue to have this program. Again, thank you to Jamie from the Small Business Administration for being on today. She had some great information, dropped some links in the chat. And also thank you, Joanna, from Supervisor Lawson-Remer's office for talking about that as well. So really do appreciate that. I will also send out some links for some of the things, the programs we have coming up, including the trainings from Intuit on QuickBooks, as well as our business financial fitness programs and other trainings. And of course, just be able to sign up as a client. And of course, at the SBDC, all of our services are at no cost, thanks to the funding we get in part from the Small Business Administration and the state of California. So again, Happy New Year to all, and we look forward to a fantastic 22. And again, as we get through this latest wave of COVID, be able to be out and about and continue to grow our businesses. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.